Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erica. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I make a whole bunch of different types of videos, a lot about San Francisco and living here, and just like vlogs and kind of what's ever going on in my life, lots of thrifting videos. So if you like that stuff, make sure to follow along and subscribe. 2 weeks ago, I published an apartment hunting video. My boyfriend lives in San Francisco right now, but he is gonna be moving because he's about to get a dog, so he's gonna get a place of his own. And I've done a lot of apartment hunting videos in the past, like when I found my apartment in the city, when he was searching for his, and just some other apartment videos, and people seem to really like them, and hopefully they're helpful for people who are looking to move here. So I filmed this process again for him. The last video I made were apartments that were in the San Francisco Bay Area, but not in San Francisco. So this video is gonna have all the apartments that are actually in the city. And there's like a pretty wide range of like where they are in the city and everything. You'll definitely get like a good mix of like areas and prices. So let's just get right into the video. So the first place in San Francisco that we looked at was literally like 3 blocks from where I currently live. So that was definitely like a plus. I really like this neighborhood. I live kind of in like the Pack Heights neighborhood. It's definitely like a safe neighborhood. It's a little bit more in the city, but there's like a lot of older buildings, a lot of charm. So I personally really like this area. So the first place that we saw was right across the street from Lafayette Park, which I actually didn't realize. I've like walked around that park a lot, but they have a whole section that is a dog park. And literally from outside the window, we were like looking onto the dog park. So at first we were like, wait, this is so perfect. He was on the first floor, but it was still like a little bit above street level. So like you didn't have to worry about somebody like looking into your windows as they're walking past, but it'd be like super easy to take the dog out. And it was an older building, really pretty. It was really small. This was a studio. Even though it was small, it was livable. Like the kitchen was pretty tiny, but there was like space to put a table in there. And then I don't know if you would really have, you might be able to fit like a bed and then a very small couch, but they did have this cool little area between, it was almost like this hallway leading into the bathroom that you could definitely put a lot of like storage, and the closet was a pretty good size because right now he has like a tiny closet. Some cons to it are just that it is kind of small. The dog that he's getting is kind of a bigger dog, but because the park was right across the street, it definitely seemed doable, but it would be tight. This place is going for $2,195 a month, which was like at the higher end of his budget. And then for garage parking, it was another $350 a month, which is so crazy. But parking in this area isn't too horrible, so like he could just like rely on street parking. For the most part, like it's pretty safe, but definitely like cars do get broken into, but not as frequently as some other areas of the city. This was definitely like the very top of his budget, and it was a pretty tight space. Then the next apartment that we went to go see was located on Union Street, which has so many shops and restaurants and is more in the like Marina district, which is one of the like popular places for people our age to live. There's a lot going on in that area. People always kind of like joke around and say that that's where everyone who graduated from Cal Poly, which we went to, like moves there, and like it's just like Cal Poly 2.0, just in the sense that it's super walkable in a great area. That was definitely a huge plus. This place was literally brand new. The guy explained to us that the building was like recently retrofitted, and they were able to like make a few more apartments on like the first floor. These were never lived in. It was really, really small though. And also you just looked out onto the parking lot, but the kitchen was like beautiful, the bathroom was beautiful, but I don't think there would be space for like a bed, a dog, a couch, and like you have a pretty small closet. It would definitely be a tight fit, but that was definitely a place where you might give up something to live in that area. This place was going for $2,050 a month. Parking is $150 a month here, but the first 6 months are free for parking. So that definitely like balances that out. So that averages to like $75 a month. But the biggest con was just how small it was. Then the next apartment that we went to go see was located on Franklin Street. This apartment that we saw was considered a junior apartment, but it was like really big compared to a lot of the other places that we saw. There was a full 1 bedroom in it. It had like a whole dedicated dining area. It was definitely not junior compared to a lot of the other places that we saw. There was carpet throughout, which David like really doesn't prefer, especially with like having a dog. And also just where it was located, it's on a busier street and there's no parks nearby or anything, so it wasn't a great spot for a dog either. It was pretty outdated though. And probably the biggest thing that was like the downside is I drive by this apartment complex almost every day, and it's definitely like not the safest area. It kind of backs up to like an alley, and there's a lot of homeless people that live right there, and like just taking the dog out late at night was probably not an ideal space to be. One of my friends who was living in San Francisco recently got a dog, and when she took her dog to the vet warned her that they get a lot of dogs that come in that have experienced like a drug overdose because they're like eating things off the sidewalk. And so obviously like that's not something that David wants to happen to his dog. And so something definitely like to be conscious of, that if you do have a dog like in the city and you're taking them in areas where like people are doing drugs, that definitely something to like think about. It was going for $2,095 and parking was $100 a month. They did also say that like guest parking would be pretty easy, so if I was coming to visit him or something, that didn't seem like it would be a problem. It seemed this building was really big and it seemed like they had a lot of vacant apartments. This building did have a tennis court though, which I thought was pretty cool. I think just the safety of the area and that it was pretty outdated, and it just wasn't like a great area where there's a ton to walk to. You're kind of like in the middle of two neighborhoods kind of. It was definitely not one of our favorites. So the next place that we saw was located the furthest south of any place that we saw in the city. If you know this area, it was south of 280. It was still considered San Francisco, but it's definitely a more like suburb place. And this was in the Portola neighborhood, which neither of us have really like spent a lot of time in, but it is a lot quieter, which could be nice with the dog and everything. And this was the only place that we saw that was like an in-law unit that was under a single family home. This was a 1-bedroom. The kitchen was updated, but it did not have an oven, which David loves to make bread, so that was like almost immediately off of his list because of that. What was nice was there was a backyard that his unit had to himself, but it was pretty much only concrete. It's nice to have the outdoor space, but it wasn't like the perfect outdoor space for a dog. Also, there was a garage spot that came with it, but David has kind of a bigger suburban car, and they said that it would probably just be like a small car that could fit in this spot, so he would have to park on the street. And it did seem safe and not too hard to find parking, but just not great. This place was listed for $2,050 a month. What was nice is that because it was a little bit more south, it's a little bit closer to his job, so he could get to and from work and the dog a little bit easier, and a good area to like go walk in. Parks weren't too far away either. The last place that we saw in the city was located in Ashbury Heights, which was so pretty. We walked around after we toured this place, and there are like beautiful houses, great views, a really cool place to be. This is like right above the Hayton-Ashbury area, so obviously that has like tons of cool shops and restaurants and everything. This apartment was listed for $2,195. It was a studio, but it was really big. It was kind of funky though. Like the bathroom was huge, and it had this huge like, it was just weird. It felt strange. There would definitely be room to have like a little bedroom section and a couch and a dining table and everything. The actual apartment itself didn't really feel that special. It did have a shared backyard area, which would be nice for the dog. This place only had street parking, and parking definitely would seem like it would be kind of tight. So those are all of the apartments that we saw in San Francisco. I will link the video that I posted a few weeks ago about the apartments that we saw in the cities south of San Francisco, like San Mateo, Burlingame, Daly City. And actually David did pick an apartment, but it was the only one I did not film because it wasn't finished yet. They were still in the process of renovating it. When he moves in next month, I'm really excited to like show an empty house tour as he decorates it and stuff. I'm sure he will let me show you guys the apartment and everything if you guys are interested in seeing that. But I hope this was helpful for you guys with like the prices and the different neighborhoods and everything. I feel like there was a lot of range in places that we saw in the city. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.